I have a Swiss Army knife that the spring for the scissor spring broke a few years ago, and I set this knife aside because it's really frustrating when the scissor doesn't have the spring. And so this was the busted spring, snapped right there. I already put this in, and I don't want to take it out to show you how I fixed it because I had to figure it out. So here's some tricks. So first, if this was a broken spring, the way you remove the spring is you'll need a 1/16 of an inch diameter punch. What you do is you set the punch in the little hole, and you get another punch, and you can use it to tap it out. Okay, so what'll then happen is the spring should pop out, and what you're going to find is if you look real carefully, see if you can see that, there's a little hole with a cut section here, an open section. So the spring, the stem of the spring, fits underneath that slot, and then the spring has a circle in it, a curl. The way you have to install the spring, this is important, is here's a new spring, and this spring has a curve to it. And what you want to do is place the flat of this into the slot, the cut slot. Don't try to put the circular portion into the hole first. You need to line up this flat spot into this cut slot, this slot right there. So imagine there is no spring. Then what you do, the way you do that is you actually, slide that in to that slot so it's flat. And then the circular part of your spring is kind of stuck in the hole partially. So it's at an angle, but you got to make sure that the flat spot is into that cut slot and flush. And part of the circular part of the spring will be somewhat up against the circular edge. Okay, so then what you do is, what I did is I held this spring carefully, don't cut yourself, slid it into position. Okay, you hold it like that, and once it's in the slot at an angle, you get your pliers and you squeeze, and you basically press on this outer edge here. You're pressing on this outer edge, and that spring will slide in the slot as you press this in with your pliers. And then you'll straighten it out a little bit. It'll pop in there. And then what you do is it'll straighten out, but it won't be in the hole all the way. Then you take your punch, set it down, make sure that the scissor is supported on a flat surface. Put the punch into the spring once it's seated, and then you can tap it, gently tap it into place, and you can center the spring on your scissor. Anyways, again, the critical part is getting this flat piece into the slot cut by the hole. Slide that in there first. So your spring isn't going to be parallel with this, it's going to be on the other side. But you get that spring into that slot and get this part of the curve somewhat biting into the edge of this hole. So just imagine this in there like this. And you're going to hold it, and then what you do is you crimp it down and press it in, kind of at an angle, pushing that way with the pliers a bit, and it'll just wiggle it in. It'll pop right in there. Then you have a pair of scissors that actually retract. And you can also buy toothpicks that you've lost. That's a little easier. So now you have a fully functional Swiss Army knife.